After his inauguration as Nigeria's 16th head of state and government, President Bola Tinubu has made his first significant move to set up his cabinet with 2 prime appointments. The president appointed the former Minister of Special Duties and Governor of Benue State, Senator George Akume, as Secretary to the Government of the Federation, and Tinubu also appointed the outgoing Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, as his Chief of Staff, with former Deputy Governor of Jigawa State, Senator Rahm, as Deputy Chief of Staff. And the race is on for the naming of more aides into the presidency and the compiling of its ministerial list. Well, to help us take a look at the appointments, we have joining us in the studio a member of the House of Representatives, Honorable Onofiok Luke. He represents Etinan Insit Ubium Federal Constituency of Akwa Ibom State, where he was also a former Speaker of the State House of Assembly. He's also Chairman of the House Committee on Judiciary. Thank you so much, Honorable, for joining us.
Thank you, Somna. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and I'd like to say congratulations to lawmakers, because for the first time, we're building an executive that's made up of practically lawmakers everywhere, from the president to his wife to the vice president and now to the chief of staff and the SGF. All of these people are products of the National Assembly. Talk to us about that.
That goes to show that the legislature has been a breeding ground for leaders, and it's an institution where we get to learn, especially at the national level. You have a mix of people with diverse background, diverse political leanings, diverse cultural backgrounds, diverse religious backgrounds. And with that, it's a potpourri of what I could call a mini Nigeria. And so it's a breeding ground, a training ground, just like I read one time about IBM. Being a port for talent, to manufacture talent. So the National Assembly, and we are proud to export our own to the national level.
Isn't this a state capture? Haven't you captured the state? I mean, because you're still in charge of the National Assembly, and the executive is practically made up of people from the parliament.
It's not the first time, and when I say it's not the first time globally, let's look at the administration of President Barack Obama, having served in the state and then moved to the legislature as a senator, and then became the president of the United States of America. You could see the things he did, and you would agree with me that what he exhibited in the office of the President of the United States were the lessons learned, were a display of the skills, the experiences he garnered while in the legislature. So the legislature, I beat my chest to have been a member of the legislature, and the legislature has been, and it's a breeding and a training ground for leaders for this country. And so we are exporting to the executive our fine hands, best brains.
Especially Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila, who's going to be handling lots of things for President Bola Tinubu. Talk to us about Gbajabiamila and the sort of experience that he brings into this position, including George Akume, who was one-time minority Senate leader too, all under the ACN group. What experience is Gbajabiamila bringing to the table?
I might not be able to, you mentioned a party, ACN, I might not be able to speak. I'm a proud member of the People's Democratic Party, and I remain so. And but I believe in bipartisan approach towards solving the problems of Nigeria. I've always said that. And to digress a little, in sometimes in 2016, as the Speaker of the House of Assembly, I said if President Buhari does 1 or 2 things, that he will have my vote for a second term. It's something I was almost disciplined by my party. But I believed that he should have been supported. He should be supported as the president to do good. And so back to the position that you have, or the question you've asked, it's joyous for us in the 9th National Assembly and in the legislature as a whole, that we can find one of us to be elevated to the position or to be appointed as the Chief of Staff to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, in this instance in the person of Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila. And it's not a surprise. Not a surprise if we juxtapose this at what has happened before. I would always want to refer, in recent history, I've been in love with the administration of President Barack Obama and with the things he did, the changes he brought. And then he had people around him who were able to organize the White House for him, and then were able to coordinate his legislative agenda. And one of them was his chief of staff, Rahm Emanuel.
Yeah, Rahm Emanuel.
Rahm Emanuel. And remember that Rahm Emanuel was a member of the Congress before he was appointed in 2009 to the position of chief of staff. And you could see how one of the greatest contributions of Rahm Emanuel to President Barack Obama's administration was the passage of Affordable Care Act, which is what is known as Obamacare, which is a signature and legacy of President Obama's administration.
Despite all that the Republicans
despite the challenges.
did.
So in the mode of Rahm Emanuel is right on Femi Gbajabiamila. And why do I say so? I don't say this... I had seen in 2009, if you go through the videos, I was at the forefront of those advocating for his speakership. And in short, I addressed the press originally 2019 rather. Yeah. I addressed the press stating a public declaration for his endorsement for speakership because of the leadership qualities I saw in him.
Yeah, and some people were surprised you haven't come from the PDP, why you were championing Gbajabiamila then and all of that.
I had to do that because I have followed his trajectory. I love legislative politics and legislative business. I followed his trajectory right from when he was elected in 2003. So in 2003, and then later, he was re-elected in 2007, he became a minority whip. And then from then on, his trajectory took him to become a minority leader, and then to the House leader and to the speakership. And so as a member of Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, we had a Commonwealth meeting in Mauritius. And firsthand, I saw him speak and then spoke on behalf of Nigeria. I saw eloquence, I saw the power of gab, and I saw the understanding, the grasp of national and even international issues. And I told myself, this man deserves something better. And so when I had the opportunity of being a member-elect, and with the arrays of candidates we had vying for the position of speakership, I didn't have any challenge on who to go for. So I went for him, and that's why I was at the forefront addressing as a spokesperson of that group of members-elect endorsing him. And he has not disappointed us. One, he has the leadership skills. In this case, he has the policy know-how, and then he has the managerial skills, and then he has... he listens attentively and actively. And when he responds thoughtfully. And he has what it means to build consensus amongst the stakeholders.
Very interesting indeed.
Yes.
Because that consensus building will be very necessary and critical in the position.
It's very key.
But how about the talk here and there that Gbajabiamila is being brought in by Tinubu to ensure that he helps to also balance the National Assembly, which is the president's backyard? I mean, if the president doesn't get the leadership of the National Assembly right, there's going to be a big problem ahead of President Tinubu. Talk to us about how Gbajabiamila can help with the leadership election that will be coming up on June 13, and then help smoothen the constant clashes that you would often have between the executive and legislature. Yeah, before we go that, the president has already, in his using his party, has already shown a direction where he's going, and I believe he has gotten it right. He has gotten it right in the persons that he has proposed to. Yeah, but those people are being rejected. They are not rejected, brother. They are not rejected. Tell me, who will reject a Senator Godswill Akpabio as a Senate president? And for what purpose would you reject him? He has been a governor of a state, he has been a Senate minority leader, and then he has done his bit well, and his colleagues are running around him. The other day he had a dinner with his colleagues, and he had almost about 60 of his colleagues who are supporting him in that dinner. There are talks that the president has changed his mind. The president has not. It's just a speculation. The president will not change his mind. The president, in the bid to, and permit to say that the president, this is at the risk of sounding political, this is the first time we've had a politician who is prepared to become the president of Nigeria. I did not support him in the elections. He has emerged as president, so we must support him. So that does not mean that I wouldn't say what is right. And so he is in the business of pacifying the different zones of this country. He has just pacified the North Central zone by bringing in Senator George Akume as the secretary to the government of the federation. And not just to pacify that zone, he's bringing a tested hand, somebody who has served in the executive, who has served in the legislature, and then who is going to combine the lessons and the experiences of both offices and all the offices that are already held, has served as a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, in no mean office as Minister of Intergovernmental Affairs and Special Duty. And so the president has gotten it right to show where he's going in Senator Godswill Akpabio as his preferred, and his preferred of senators as
Senate President, and with Senator Barrow as Deputy Senate President, and with Tajuddin Abbas as the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and then Benjamin Kalu as the Deputy.
That's where the problem actually lies, because you and I know the gang up of this the former G7, which is now G6, including Wase. Do you think that Gbajabiamila's appointment has weakened the chances of Wase, who was trying to capitalize on this, and that Tinubu played a master stroke by giving Akume the SGF, and it will as such weaken the chances of Wase or Yusuf Gagdi?
I would always say that all the aspirants to the office of the Speaker of the 10th National Assembly have the credentials. I have worked with them, except one Jaji. Jaji was not in the 9th Assembly, so I was not in the 8th Assembly. So I speak to those who I believe that Jaji does have, because of what I hear too. And so they all have the credentials to become Speaker. But there is one with a towering credentials, which is Tajuddin Abbas. And so I don't speak about who does not have, who is not favored or who is favored. They all have the credentials, but they can only be one. And in a particular setting the other day,
very quickly,
I said setting the other day, I said, if Right of Femi Gbajabiamila were to throw his weight behind Aliyu Betara, they would have said, oh, you have brought their right-hand man, the chairman of appropriation.
Yeah.
If we were to throw his weight behind the deputy speaker, a good one at that, because I supported his nomination as deputy speaker on the very first day of inauguration, and then he has the credentials, they would have said, oh, you've brought your deputy. If you were to throw his weight behind Yusuf Gagdi, the wife of the speaker comes from the same place with Yusuf Gagdi, they would have said, oh, you have brought your in-law. So anybody that the speaker would have thrown his weight behind, they would have been some crumbling. And so, back to the question, what the president has done, I will refer to Rahm Emanuel. Rahm Emanuel was able to manage the legislature to get bills passed for President Barack Obama because he was there.
But you know, and that so he ended in controversial circumstances.
With Femi Gbajabiamila, what we are seeing is that, away from the fact that we have the president, the vice president, the wife of the president, the SGF, and the chief of staff, all from the legislature, right over Femi Gbajabiamila, having presided, over the House of Representatives in the last 4 years, having been in the legislature in the last 23 years, assuming we were to have 360 members in each of those tenures coming out new. So he has a support base, he has the grassroots, he has the people that he can refer to. And he has, again, he's an institutional memory. Institutional memory in the sense that, as a Speaker of the House of Assembly, House of Representatives, and as a member, by reason of presiding over the House and the committees, you preside over the reports and everything. So you have the knowledge of what transpires in
very quickly sector. Before I let you go, can you deliver the Tajuddin and Kalu ticket?
You mean?
Can Gbajabiamila deliver the Tajuddin and Kalu ticket?
The members of the House of Representatives, members elect of the 10th National Assembly, will deliver the Tajuddin Kalu ticket, in the sense that they see that what is good, and that is why the speaker is throwing his weight behind it, and that is why we are adopting the same theme we adopted in the 9th National Assembly, nation building, a joint task. What do we want as Nigerians? We want a country that moves from where we are to where we should be. And the speaker, right over Femi Gbajabiamila, coordinating the affairs at the legislature, both in the Senate and the National Assembly, and other stakeholders of Nigeria, 36 states of the Federation and FCT, and then with his support from the youth sector through his mentorship program, and then the women, and then the private sector, and the military with the security summit he organized, and the academia. He is going to deliver as a senior assistant, a support system, and a pillar to the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
All right. We must thank you so much immensely for what you've said about Gbajabiamila, and I think you've already sold yourself as someone who should be very close to the Chief of Staff. Yourself, Honorable Onofiok Luke, is a member of the House of Representatives, and he represents Akwa Ibom State. He's also the Chairman House Committee on Judiciary, and also a former Speaker of the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly. And of course, we can only but wish the government well and hope that things work for the benefit of all Nigerians. We must thank you very much for joining us.